Hello and welcome to the CEO Magazine's CEO Shows. This is your host, Nick Vaidya. Shutting down a business is hard and painful for any entrepreneur, but unfortunately, it is also very common. The question is, when should one do that and how best to do it? Now, here's an example of an entrepreneur who, with millions lost, shut down on time only to restart it. He recently received $10 million in funding and is playing in the big leagues now, as he says. I think his experience is very instructive. I believe there is no such thing as quitting, there is only reinvigoration. It is a matter of finding the right spot, that is, the product formula and the target segment. Continuous search for answers is the only key, as you will also hear from Brad's story. So friends, here is Brad Weisberg, CEO of
Brad, welcome to
Snapsheet.
the CEO Show. I'm really glad that we got this opportunity to talk with you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So Brad, I just heard that you got a 10 million round of funding.
Yeah, we raised it. It's been a few months now, but I'll tell you what, it took 9 months to raise that round, and it feels good to finally close.
Wonderful, congratulations. And at another point in time, I'd love to talk to you about the lessons you've learned and the process. I think that'll make perfect sense. But right now, my main goal was to talk with you to understand the transition that you made when you were almost filing for bankruptcy. And the business was struggling, you were in the wrong direction. That transition that you made is really critical to get through to understand your thought process there. What really happened and how did you make the shift?
Absolutely. So when I started the company 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, it's crazy to think how fast time flies. I had this vision for what was Body Shop Bids for years and years. So I'd gotten in a car wreck. I took my car to 3 completely different body shops and got 3 completely different estimates for the same dent. So it made absolutely no sense to me. It's like, how could this be? It was frustrating. It was time consuming. I had to take time out of my day to go from shop to shop. And then on top of that, I felt like I was getting ripped off. So I obsessed about this idea. I took out my entire life savings, which was not very much at the time, and I had a website and an iPhone app built for the company Body Shop Bids. And so the idea was that anyone who was getting their car repaired could just take photos using our smartphone app or on the web, and then I would curate a network of body shops where they would then bid on your work, all virtually, so you never have to leave your driveway. And it worked very, very well. So people would submit photos. It would take about 24 hours. We would get them 3 estimates from 3 different shops that we would vet out ourselves. Then you could go online. You could view photos of the body shops. You could book an appointment all online, and then we would hold your money. You would go get your car repaired, and then after you were satisfied, we would release the money to the body shop, and it just created a more transparent experience. And we were on average saving people $900 every time they're getting their car repaired. So you would think, that's great, that's amazing, sounds like things were going very well. The reality is, as we learned over the course of time, that 90% of people that get their car repaired go through insurance. And so we were actually focused on the 10% of the market that was paying out of pocket. And when you get in a car wreck once every 7 to 10 years, you don't have a lot of reoccurring business. So we were spending all of our money on marketing, and we really weren't seeing the ROI that we had originally thought. The cost to acquire a customer was higher than the revenue that we were bringing in afterwards. So it was difficult because I'd had this idea for years and years, and I'd raised almost $2.5 million for this idea, and it was working, but it wasn't working well enough where I knew I was going to be in business in 5 years. And so you go through every scenario that you possibly can to try to understand what's going wrong. Clearly it's never you, it has to be something else. And but I was able to take a step back and look at my business and understand that if I kept going down this path, I would be out of business, and I needed to make a change. So that's not to say that I didn't go down swinging. So I tried to come up with as many things as I possibly could to keep that model going. So for instance, we started upselling wiper blades on the website. We started trying to have people, we added a mechanic button to our site. So if you wanted to get mechanical repairs done, we were going to try to send somebody out to you to fix your car on the spot. I mean, we were selling oil change. I mean, like, you name it, we were trying to do it. But the reality is it wasn't working.
So the thing is, your segment, the assessment of the segment was incorrect. You thought that this segment of people paying from their own pocket would be big enough and would create enough revenue for you.
I thought it would be big enough. I thought that by saving people on average $900, which was more than I realized I was going to be able to, I thought that it would generate so much buzz that I would have just adoption that way through word of mouth, as opposed to, you know, spending money on radio commercials and things like that. I also thought that I was going to be able to add on ancillary products to bring in more revenue as I built, you know, the marketplace. But it didn't happen as quickly as I thought.
Why was it, Brad? Why was it? Was it that the segment is really small, or because you said that you were saving time and money? I mean, people didn't have to go hunting around. And that's a big thing. You know, almost all of us have experienced, oh shoot, I don't want to do this right now. This shouldn't have happened at this point in time. So, you know, saving time is a big factor. So why?
It's huge. Honestly, like, I think that the idea could work if you raised enough money and you were around long enough to let it spread. But the reality is, for most startups, is they raise enough money to last a year or two. And that's normally to build a minimum viable product and just confirm that there are people out there that will use it. That doesn't take into account spending, you know, like some insurance companies spend billions of dollars a year on marketing and advertising. If you had that type of budget, I absolutely think it could work. But when you don't, and when people do get in car wrecks and they have a great experience, they absolutely will refer you. But when you think about it, it happens once every 7 to 10 years. You know, how often do your friends get in car wrecks so you're even able to refer it?
Yeah.
It's not that often. Not that often. So, like, you have to really become a brand, just a local brand that, you know, that it has been around for a while, that everyone knows about, and that costs money, and it costs a lot of money to build that. So it didn't make sense to keep going down that path. And I could have. And I think a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs do. They have a vision. They stick with it. They don't listen to outside noise. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's bad. Sometimes it's detrimental to the business. And so I feel like that's something valuable that I have, to be able to see something not working and to be able to pivot off of it, as opposed to holding my ground and believing that this is the right thing when it's not.
Well, this is an incredible facet in an entrepreneur, to be able to, as you said, pivot, but to be able to give up your vision, to be able to say, you know what, great idea or not, doesn't matter. We need to make a switch because long-term, this is not viable. And you know, most entrepreneurs have a problem with that, just by the nature of it. You love it. It's your baby. And you say, I don't want to give up. And especially when you say, no, it's possible. I know I could do it. I know we can add additional sources of revenue. We can keep on marketing. Because, you know, you rightly point out, it is a marketing issue, because this is not on the top of your mind. You don't think about it. You go to Google and you search maybe, but you don't even know what you're searching for. So until and unless it becomes a brand, you won't have any recognition of it. So right. You've got to keep on messaging it out consistently and hope that you catch enough fish. It's never going to be like a wildfire. You know, people would not remember. So I want to focus on that. You know, it's a process when you said, no, I got to give it up, or I got to find something else. How did it happen? How did you go through that?
So what happened was, it was something that I always thought about getting into, because the pivot, it was a pivot, but it was also kind of a natural pivot to get into insurance. And, one of the things that I did very early on was I went to body shop conferences and insurance conferences whenever they were in the area or within like fairly close traveling distance. And I I donated money. So, very early on when I raised $250,000, I actually took 5,000 of that and I donated it to the Collision Repair Education Foundation in Illinois. And that small investment actually ended up opening doors that I couldn't have ever, imagined. And so I started getting meetings with the CEOs of these large body shop chains. And, people don't understand the scope of the industry and how large it is. I mean, these are, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of business, and these carriers are, have billions under management. And all of a sudden I had access to, the C-suite of a lot of these places. And I was talking to them about my idea for Body Shop Bids. And they said, hey, look, we could use something like this. Now, we don't want bidding. We don't want any bidding done, but we could use mobile technology and, the type of claims exchange that I built to offer to their customers to get one accurate estimate written the first time and to make them more efficient, to help them, reduce cycle time, maybe save some cost, and create a better user experience for their insureds. Because J.D. Power comes out with a study every year that really talks about people change insurance carriers when they get in a wreck and when they have a bad experience on the claim side. So if they could create a positive claims experience, people are more likely to stay. So I was meeting with lots of body shop people. I was meeting with insurance carriers, still not expecting to ever, go that way, but just being part of the industry and learning as much as I can. And so, really I sat down with my co-founder, CJ, and we just had a heart-to-heart of, hey, look, do we enjoy our life right now? Do we like running a business? Do we like managing people? And do we want to keep doing this? And if we do, we're going to have to make a change, and we're going to have to make a change quickly. So we really analyzed the market. We really went back to the drawing board and looked at it like we were starting a brand new company, and assessed market size, how we would go about it, what kind of key people we needed to tackle it. And we had a big ceremony where we all, the four of us who were in the company at the time, maybe five, we got a 12-pack of beer, and we all sat around the computer, and we decided today was the day we were going to shut down Body Shop Bids and launch Snapsheet, and we all took a toast and pressed the button. I think we even have it on video, and from that day forward, there was Body Shop Bids was over, and we were focused on Snapsheet.
So was it a positive thing? Well, did you have fear about it, or was it serendipity that you discussed it?
Look,
oh, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I would compare it to a professional, a child who obsessed about being a professional athlete, and literally works all day, every day in their backyard, through middle school, through high school, making their varsity team and being good and having the opportunity to actually make it to the pros, but then on pro day, learning that, hey, you're not going to be a pro. So what do? Do you keep following your dream to play professional basketball, or do you take another career path and go into business? And essentially what we did was we decided, hey, we're not going to play professional ball here, but maybe we'll play in the minor leagues and still have, and still be able to play, to do something that you love and believe in. And what happened to us is we found out that we were addressing the minor leagues. And actually today we're playing in the major leagues, or we're playing professional ball. So it actually worked out better for us. But you had to make that decision on, do you want to follow your dream or not? And we weren't ready to let go, and we weren't ready to go out and find other jobs. We wanted to keep building our business.
So key thing is that you said we want to do what we want to do, which is create something, and it's okay to switch course, and especially when it's looking lucrative, especially you have got some data to support that. And the most important thing which I see you did, which many entrepreneurs do not, is you did not isolate yourself. I mean, you get so focused on what you're doing that you tend to isolate yourself, to not do the things that you need to do as well.
Right. Absolutely. No, I mean, we were always going to industry events and seeing other startups that were coming up in the space and seeing how we might be able to fit with them. And, we never had blinders on. I mean, we were very laser focused in our vision, but we were smart enough to also stick our head up and look around from time to time and make sure that we were headed down the right course.
That's wonderful. So what does Snapsheet do now?
So what we built is a virtual insurance claims exchange where we'll go to an insurance carrier and almost work as like a consultant on the claim side. And we work with them on ways for their customers or their insureds to submit photos to us, whether it's through mobile, whether it's through a crowdsourced solution where we send somebody out to your house. And we also have integrations with total loss auction yards. You get cars get towed to a tow yard. We have a way for any type of collision that you have. We have a way for the photos to get sucked into our system, and we're able to pull data from all over the country of labor rates, parts usage, tax rates, everything. We put it all together, and then we have a full workflow management software where we're able to send all that information packaged up to an estimator, where an estimator then will write you an accurate estimate according to the carrier's guidelines, and then send it back to you through a mobile app all within 3 hours. And then you're able to view your estimate on the phone. You're able to put in your bank account and routing number and have the money for the claim direct deposit in your account same business day, or you're able to view thousands of body shops that we have in our network that are pre-approved by the insurance carrier, and you're able to book an appointment with that body shop. So we've essentially, we've taken a claims process that on average takes anywhere from 7 to 10 days to hours. And you can close your claim. 40% of our claims today close the day that they're called in to the insurance company.
Wonderful.
So it's, yeah.
So did you leverage your previous experience or technology in this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we spent a year and a half learning how to get people to take accurate photos themselves, submit them to us so we could have body shops write an estimate on it. So, a lot of the process and the workflow that we had for body shop bids, we were able to use for Snapsheet. And the other thing would be relationships. So a lot of the relationships that we built through body shop bids, we were also able to transition over to Snapsheet. And that's people in the body shop world and also in the insurance world.
And that's wonderful. That is amazing. It's a great story because a lot of people just fold. But I think you did it in time. If you had waited for another few months, my sense is that you might have missed this opportunity as well as you would have lost all the money.
Okay. There was a time where we had to flip a coin to see who was going to get paid, and that was just the reality of the situation. And so we were out of money before we were able to raise our next round. But my employees believed in our vision, and they believed in me and my co-founder, and they knew it was just a matter of time before other people saw what we were doing, and they were right. And it's worked out well for everybody.
So now you've got about 100 employees?
80.
80. Wow.
Yeah.
This is an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you so much, and have a great day.
You too. So I would